I want to challenge stereotypical beauty standards. My mom started to find chunks of hair on my hairbrush and also chunks of hair in the shower.
Apps has the power.
Olivia Apps using her strength.
Excellent finishing touches there from Olivia Apps.
It was frightening for her, and it was frightening for me.
Really good work rate from Apps. Olivia Apps, what an effort it was.
The doctor basically said there's really not much we can do about it. I grew up on the farm with my 4 sisters and my mom. Life was loud and chaotic, but lots of fun. Always something to do.
Olivia was a very active child, and out of the 4 girls, Olivia probably was the most adventurous and risk-taking daughter that I had.
My sisters and I were all very athletic growing up. We played all the sports in school. I think we were a little competitive with each other, but in a fun kind of way.
We were close. I think there was definitely a period of time where Olivia and I, in like a sisterly way, butted heads all the time.
A full household of girls, lots of screaming matches about stealing clothes and whatever, but we always had so much fun playing outside and playing with the animals, and we're all so close, and we still are close now. Within a couple of weeks, most of my hair was gone. I was 7 years old. My mom started to find, she would brush my hair in the morning before school, and she started to find chunks of hair on my hairbrush and also chunks of hair in the shower.
It went from like a childish moment of who made the shower disgusting and left all this hair behind to, oh my gosh, this is a lot of hair.
All of a sudden, there's just like huge clumps of hair came out, and it was frightening. It was frightening for her, and it was frightening for me.
I woke up in the morning and half of my hair was on the pillow, like staticky, like attached to the pillow. And I came downstairs like, Mom, and like my hair was really thin. And she looked at me and she's like, oh my gosh.
I was really shaken up by it because it's startling to see your child lose that much hair. And I don't really recall how long it took for her to lose like most of her hair, but it was quick.
I remember like she had very long dark hair, and when it started thinning, it was really, really fast and really scary.
I left school in grade 3 with a full head of hair. When I came back at March break, I had basically no hair at all. Staying positive was sometimes difficult. The doctor basically said, yeah, you have alopecia universalis. That's probably the most extreme form of alopecia because you lose hair all over your body. There's really not much we can do about it.
I didn't know much about alopecia at the time. In fact, a lot of people didn't know much about it, and it was hard to get information.
I think my mom was more like, okay, we need to figure this out because I want some answers and I want my daughter to feel like she's in control of something when in reality I wasn't really in control of anything at all.
Throughout the next few months, there was like endless doctor's appointments for Olivia, and then my mom was also getting the water tested, updating our water filtration, could it have been that, switching all of our shampoos, detergents, everything, trying to figure out what this is.
I think the initial fear of being bald, like when my mom first told me that that's a possibility, I was really scared, and I immediately like yelled out of the room and I was like, I'm not gonna be a baldy, Mom, like I'm not gonna do that. This isn't happening to me. But so quickly, when those moments would be really scary, my sisters and my family were always there right away.
None of us wanted her to feel that anything had changed, that she was still the same person and hair is hair. It's not really a big deal.
She was really strong through it. I kind of picture it as like a whirlwind around her of everyone trying to figure this out and protect this little girl.
At that time, I was switching schools mid-year, and I showed up at that new school with no hair, which was scary for sure. But I think it was one of those things I just kind of had to do and get over, and showed up with a bandana, but that didn't last long. I took it off pretty quickly because I didn't want people to ask questions or be whispering about me behind. Like, I'd rather just be up front, be like, no, this is who I am, this is what I look like.
Finally, she just looked at me and she said, you know, Mom, like, I'm good with this. I'm good with this. And so it was me that was having the problem. It was not Olivia that was having the problem with losing her hair.
If I'm okay with not having hair, then everybody else should be okay with it too, because if I'm comfortable with myself, that's really all that matters. Rugby gave me so much confidence as a young woman.
Olivia tried out rugby and was like an instant star. She was so good, I think, just from playing soccer and being so fast, and her hand skills were amazing, and she just instantly, we all knew like, okay, she's really good at this.
Right from the get-go, she tried out for Rugby Ontario, she tried out for the 15, she tried out for every team that was available to her to be on. She really just loved it. It became like a real focal point in her life.
You get people from all different walks of life. Like, it's not just, you know, you have to look like this or be this kind of athletic type to play rugby. Like, you can be really whatever and find a place on the team. So I've really enjoyed making lifelong friends playing rugby, and also just getting to know myself a bit better playing this sport.
I was first made aware of Olivia when Olivia was playing for Ontario. It was certainly very noticeable how she commanded and demanded a lot from not only herself but her teammates as well, and that's something that I think has continued from provincial on to the international stage.
Liv brings lots of strengths to the field. I think that probably her biggest strength that she brings is her work ethic and her grit. She is willing to do like whatever it takes, and she's always willing to work harder, and she's always supporting her teammates on and off the field.
I never thought that I would make it to Tokyo 2020.
I think when any athlete has such a major injury, and especially so close to such a major games, it was something that I had certain doubt that Olivia would make it back.
When I tore my ACL, I was basically sliding in to get a ball in training and heard it pop.
She took it well. She was definitely disappointed, and there was a fear because it was so close to the 2020 Olympics of what will this impact her chances.
I remember crying to my mom and saying, my Olympic dream is over. Mom, like, there's nothing I can do about this. I have no time now.
It was difficult for her not to be able to play. She certainly watched everything. She was really in tune to the team. She participated in every call. She didn't withdraw.
I could really only focus on what I could do at that exact time, which was get my surgery, and then all the little milestones, I just had to focus on those, because the Olympics is something I really can't control, and whatever happens, you know, maybe was meant to happen.
That was a really difficult time because she really had her hopes and dreams set on the Olympics.
She was super dedicated to her recovery.
It was something that caught many of the rugby community by surprise, that somebody that had suffered such a big injury was able to recover and develop and get back to the level needed to be an Olympic athlete.
Liv gives me a shout on the phone and tells me, and I was just, you know, in tears. I just was so thrilled for her. So thrilled that she'd have the opportunity. She's worked really hard. The whole team has worked really hard. But it's your child, and you're so proud.
Finally getting to Tokyo was an experience I won't forget, but I think our team had sacrificed a lot to get there, and so I was really grateful just to be there and be part of that.
If you wanted a mark of an athlete, that's one particular life event that I think can be put to her name as something that's a great achievement.
I want to challenge stereotypical beauty standards.
I think maybe in the early years, she was just happy to like park the alopecia off to the side. Like, she didn't want to be defined by alopecia. She was a rugby player, she was a student, she was her own person. When she committed to playing rugby full time, I got the sense from her that she really had a story to tell.
I think that young women particularly need to have more women in these kind of spaces, showing them that you don't have to look a certain way to be beautiful or to be accepted or to be loved or like find belonging. I think that a lot of women in these spaces like myself hopefully are breaking those barriers. So I feel really privileged at the end of the day to be part of that.
I didn't know much about alopecia before I met Liv, and it has definitely raised my awareness, and also just raised my awareness of little things that people go through every day that you may not know about, and the strength it takes to overcome those.
It's not like alopecia has held her back in any way. If anything, it's just promoted her to be a very self-aware human being, and not only that, but I think is always someone that reads empathy incredibly well, no matter what the situation. And I think that has probably come from the challenges of something like alopecia.
Obviously my condition is a little more rare, but people still have it, and I do want to raise awareness about alopecia so that people can feel comfortable talking about it, people can feel comfortable not wearing wigs if they don't want to, and just kind of embracing this condition in whatever way they feel is best, because hair is such a classic stereotypical beauty image.
Her strength through adversity and then just all the time is incredible, and just her energy and how she makes people feel is remarkable.
The fact of the matter is that she was able to overcome a really horrible time in her youth and become a remarkable woman.
No matter wins, losses, or successes on field, I think Olivia will continue to be a remarkable person.
It's been like 18 years since I've lost my hair, basically, and I wouldn't change it. I don't think I would go back and have my hair again, because it's who I am now and it's created the person I am today. So just honestly really happy with how things have turned out for me, I would say.